Hello. Well, we've been talking in the last few videos about some of the negative thoughts and emotions and anxieties that you may be experiencing as a result of this pandemic. And I thought it was worth spending a moment talking about something which is actually pretty obvious, but is worth restating. And that is that whatever you are experiencing right now, you can pretty much guarantee that your kids are likely to be experiencing something very similar. Now, it doesn't matter how young they are. On some level, even the youngest child is going to be absorbing your anxieties. And of course, their routine will be thrown out just by the fact that you can't go out as much, or that you're around, or one parent is around more, or perhaps is absent more as a result. And of course, as the child gets older and they're more aware of what's going on, and particularly if they're at school, they will feel very much like their world has been turned upside down as schools are closed and they can't see their friends. Perhaps they're not able to see a grandparent that they love. They'll have their own concerns about the virus, what that means in terms of health. They'll see the pressures that it puts on you. And so just expect this to come out. Be prepared for the fact that your child may well be sullen and withdrawn. They will probably experience mood swings. Aggression is another big one. Often anxiety manifests as aggression when a child or an adult doesn't feel very safe in the world. And of course, for the little ones, you might be experiencing more unexplained tummy aches, or not wanting to go to bed at night, or being scared of being in the dark or on their own. Just lots of different ways in which this might manifest. So just be aware of that and watch for it in your children. Now, one of the things we're going to do in the next series of videos is just take a look at some of the beliefs that confident or resilient people share, and how we can use those to support our children through these times. But I thought it was worth just having a little recap of a couple of things that you can do to support your kids along this way. And, do look back over the start of this series on how to deal with negative thoughts and emotions and lockdown anxiety, because all of the tips that we share there are ones that you can use with your children as well. So just in terms of little go-to points on what to do with your children when they're experiencing these things. Firstly, allow them to experience it. Allow them to experience their emotions. It's really important that we let the emotions flow through our bodies. So just give them a couple of minutes to have their meltdown, to, cry or whatever. Maybe allow them to punch some pillows if there's a lot of anger in there, before you rush in to either calm and comfort them, or indeed tell them off if that's what the situation calls for. Secondly, allow them to have their negative thoughts. Encourage them to talk to you about them. Obviously, don't buy into the negativity, but do allow them to express themselves, and don't dismiss them out of hand. Don't tell anybody that, it's silly to be worrying about something like this. Hear it out, understand where they're coming from, and then you can look at it and look at what actually can be done. What's true, what's not, what action can we take, what do we need to really let go of. So that circle of control that we've talked about in previous videos. Also, just be aware of what's being played in the background, what's in the background to their daily lives. Have you got the news on loop all the time? And if you're telling them that everything's all right and everything can be managed, then having pictures of, ICU beds that are overflowing, and a narrative that talks about the panic and the fear or the difficulties that people are experiencing on a constant loop in the background really isn't going to help. And of course, talk to them in an age-appropriate way about what is going on. Sometimes parents think, well, they don't need to know. Well, actually, children are really sensitive. They know when something is wrong, and anxiety heightens when we're kept in the dark. So being able to spend that little bit of time and say, yes, this is what the world is experiencing right now, this is what it looks like, and then these are the ways that we are going to help ourselves and make sure that we're healthy and limit exposure or whatever it happens to be. All the good things that we've been talking about over the last few series. So do look out for the next few videos, which will be very much about how we support our children with various beliefs and thoughts about themselves and the world around them. And until then, good luck with dealing with the tantrums and the meltdowns. It's never easy, but as always, be well and be safe and be kind to your kids as well as yourself.